What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Retro Hoop Collectibles. We got a data update today on PSA's progress on getting caught up. Had a pretty good week this week. PSA did pretty good. A bit of an improvement from last week, so we'll get right into the data here in a second. If you've been watching or if you've been following this series, I appreciate you, but if this is your first time getting here and this is your first time looking at this this data update, maybe you got it from a friend or something, I would highly recommend that you go back. I'll link it up at the top here. Go back to the very first episode where I kind of give you the background on my data, where I pulled the data from, how my logic in the data, so on and so forth. I think it'll serve as a very good basis for this quick update that we're going to give today. Another thing, if you have not already, please hit the subscribe button. Please like this video. Go back and watch some of the other update videos as we've gone through week to week on this update. Share them with your Facebook groups, with your people in the hobby that you know, friends in the hobby and all that stuff, because I think this is a very important piece of information for everybody to be up to date on. If you like this kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, because I do this every week. Every Wednesday is the update video on PSA's progress on getting through that big backlog that they have. So I'd appreciate that. And then before we get into the data, just a couple of things that I wanted to address. Number one, I mentioned in the previous PSA video where we were watching what was a horrible PSA return from my man, Trading Cards and More, in regards to the rejected cards. PSA does not charge you for rejected cards if they are rejected for minimum size requirement. However, if you trimmed a card, or if you added color, or if you altered the card in any way, shape, or form, they will reject it and you will pay for it. I was going off of what had happened to me, which they rejected my cards, but my cards were rejected because supposedly they were trimmed, which they were not, but whatever. If you want to watch the saga on that video, I'll link that up at the top as well. So they do not charge you for cards that are returned back to you for minimum size requirement. However, if you alter a card, they will charge you, even though they don't slab it up for you. And then I think that's it. Oh, so I did want to address one other thing in the comments that I saw. Somebody said, man, for somebody who is doing all of this work and all of this data to keep us up to date on PSA's ability to work through their backlog, you sure are crapping on PSA pretty hard. Why are you crapping on a company that you're constantly following? And the answer is very simple. I'm a consumer. And because I'm a consumer, I don't have any allegiance to any of these companies. I use the best company that in my opinion is the best company for the services that I'm paying for, which is grading a card. And when I send a card off to get graded, I expect for it to be graded accurately, and I expect for that accuracy to be consistent throughout all of my submissions. PSA just simply does not do that right now, and I am hoping that they can get back to a point to where they're doing that consistently, accurately, providing better customer service and quicker turnaround times. I am still, I've said this in all my other videos. I am not against PSA. I don't have a vendetta against PSA. I have a vendetta against companies that don't do what they say they're going to do. And I have a vendetta against companies who treat their customers like crap, who don't care about their customers. And right now that's what PSA is doing. But there's a little glimmer of hope within PSA that says, hey, we understand that we're crap in some of the press releases that they've done. I'm paraphrasing, but we understand that we've been doing bad the last 18 months, whatever, but we're making strides to get better. And that gave me a little bit of hope. And with that hope, I decided to use my skills to do a little bit of digging into whatever data I can get my hands on to try to track that progress. And so that's what we're doing. I hope PSA gets back to where they were with quick turnaround times, with consistent grading and accurate grading. And that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm following along, because I'm a fan. I want PSA to get back to where they're going, to where they've been. I'm also a fan of SGC because I love what they're doing. I love their slabs. I love their turnaround times. I love their customer service. We just recently got a submission back, if you haven't watched that video, from my man Pete, where one of our cards was mislabeled. the year was wrong on one of his cards. Sent an email, got an email back the very next day that said, hey, send that back to us, man. We'll get that cleared up as soon as possible. Make sure that you put this email in the box, and we'll get it turned around for you ASAP. So that's customer service, man. When I had a what PSA calls a mechanical error, which is a mislabeled card, it took a little bit over 4 months, 6 months to get that card back. 4 months to get that card back. So again, customer service. I want PSA to get back to where they were. I want PSA to be the top dog, because I still feel that PSA is quite possibly the most important company in the hobby, and we need them to get their shit together. And when they said that they were going to, that's when I started pulling this data so that we can try to make sure that they are. And if they're not, then you guys make the decision on what you're going to do from there. So that's why I'm doing this, but that's why I'm still being very critical of every grading company. And coming up, we're gonna do some digging on HGA, because they're slipping up a little bit too, and we're gonna talk about that. So that's what's going on there. So without further ado, let's get into the data, because that's what you guys are here to see. We're gonna start off with something very interesting that I saw. We'll jump to the screen here. As I logged on to pull the data for this video, at the top of the page was this service update for the 29th of April, which was just maybe 4 or 5 days ago. Once again, it's just reiterating that they suspended services. Okay, we get that. Then that they're not currently accepting value, economy, regular, and express. We expect to take a tiered approach to reintroducing these service levels beginning July 1st. Okay, we knew that already. Nothing different there. Current collector club memberships have already been extended for 3 months to reflect the 3 months that they're expecting to be shut down. But here's the interesting part. We will be extended, they've already extended 3 months and will be extended further to reflect the duration of the value pricing suspension. That's an interesting statement. I'm not sure if this was part of the original statement. I don't think it was. However, because if it was, I would have jumped on it. Once again, guys, my background is in logistics and in supply chain. And it's these little nuances that you got to pick up on. And if you don't understand what these mean, you're not going to catch the message. And the message here is that, hey guys, we've extended you 3 months because we're going to be suspending these services for 3 months. However, in the case that we don't get our shit together in 3 months, we will extend it further to reflect the duration of the value pricing suspension. That's just leaving the door open to say that, hey, we may or may not be ready by July 1st. And if we're not, then we're going to extend you. Don't worry, we'll extend your collector club voucher, collectors club memberships to reflect the duration of the value pricing suspension. We will refresh this update regularly and share progress and updates on timing. As of April 29th, 2021. Not a good sign. Not a good sign. However, if you've been following this this data dump and this data update on a weekly basis, we already knew that. We already knew that this was not going to come back anytime soon. A lot of you are smart and knew that this wasn't going to happen by July 1st. So let's take a quick look at the complete through dates, because it's not a pretty story either. Not much movement. However, walkthroughs did increase in dates. This is all relevant to May 3rd. This is when I pulled the data. So walkthroughs are about 4 or 5 days. Super Express is about a week, roughly. Express is about 2 months. April, May, February, March, April, May. They're about 3 months. And regular is about 4 months. And economy is 9 months, 8 months. September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Yeah, 8 months. Roughly about 8 months, and then it's just turtles all the way down from there. Actually, you know what? Everything else is about right there. So it's about 8 months for economy. It's about 8 months for club voucher. About 8 months for ultra modern. About 8 months for modern. Vintage is still about 9 months, roughly, is what they're looking at. TCG also about 9 months, and Actually, yeah, TCG about 9 months, and then quarterly special about 10 months. So TCG and quarterly special is about 10 months, roughly, is what you could expect. I want to, so some of you have mentioned that you're getting orders in your respective service levels sooner than what the complete through dates are saying. So for example, some of you have commented that you had an order that you submitted, an economy order that you submitted in January, that you've already gotten back, and currently economy is saying September 7th. Now, while I'm happy that you're getting your cards back quicker and happy to see that some of this backlog is starting to chip away and things like that, that's also very concerning, because one of the things that PSA has mentioned on their channel or on their page is the use of a concept called FIFO, F-I-F-O, first in, first out. And you know, it's kind of one of those things where as they're getting orders, they're processing them, they're sending them out the door. And if it's not in order, then these complete through dates are completely irrelevant. I'm starting to realize that a lot of these complete through dates they're not very accurate. And if they're not very accurate, that also is very concerning, because they moved away from the turnaround times to complete through dates in an effort to keep us more informed. Now, if you remember, I did a video a while back. I'll link that in the description as well, or I'll link that up top. I did a video a while back about the concept of complete through dates and why I felt that the fact that they were moving from lead times to complete through dates was sort of a shadow game, and that they did that in an effort to hide how bad things really are. And also it just basically meant that they're not getting us our orders back anytime soon. So watch that video if you will. But the complete through dates make it really easy to hide what's going on. And based on what you guys are saying and some of the orders that you're getting back and some of the timing that I'm seeing on some of these orders, it's starting to make sense. And I'm really starting to feel like these complete through dates are just not as accurate. They're not accurate. They're either not accurate or not being updated consistently enough, because, you know, some of you are getting your orders back a lot sooner, which is great. Don't get me wrong, it's great. The other thing that could be going on is that there could be another bucket of people that are not being considered in the normal group of graders and submitters, and they're pulling some of the orders off of the front end, and they're kind of attacking it from both sides. They're attacking the old orders and they're attacking the new orders, and maybe these new orders that are coming in are going through this new genament process. Maybe the old orders are going through the genament process and the new orders are going through the graders. I don't know how they're doing that, but that's also a possibility that they're kind of attacking the backlog from both sides, which is also, you know, a viable strategy when you're trying to get out from underneath a mountain of orders. So yeah, let's you know, just thinking about that, and so I personally am taking these complete through dates with a grain of salt. I'm still watching them just to see kind of how they move around. Has anybody done a walkthrough order? Have you guys? If you have, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what your turnaround times are or were, or what you're currently experiencing. Same thing with Super Express. Let me know. I'm really curious about those two there, because those two seem to be what they're placing a lot of emphasis on. So, all right, so let's get into the data here. For May 5th, they did 25,000. They did 129,000 cards between April 26th and May 5th, which is great. That's about a 10% jump from last week. Now, if you guys remember, I mentioned last week was pretty flat from the 19th. So from the 19th to the 26th, they didn't really make much improvement. They still did about 119,000 cards, almost identical to what they did the previous month. And I had mentioned that I had seen somewhere that their onboarding process took about 2 weeks to onboard new hires and new trainees and get them into grading. So it seems to be that that's kind of the case, because this is the second week coming off of that increase. So we had an increase from the 12th to the 19th of about 10%. And then we had we went flat last week from the 19th to the 26th. And then we increased again this month about 10% this week about 10% from the 26th to the 3rd. So that's pretty good. If that's the case, then we're probably going to go flat next week. So we're not going to see much of an improvement next week. We'll probably see around 129, 130,000 cards next week if that same pattern continues. However, I'm hoping that that's not the case. I'm hoping that we break this pattern and we really start to see some week over week increases, which will ultimately, lead to those big weeks of about 30 to 40,000 cards a day. So that's kind of that would get them to where they need to be. The big ones were baseball, basketball, and football, as always, and then TCG was the fourth biggest. The biggest one being basketball. Obviously, basketball is hot right now. And then baseball's coming along. We got Bowman Chrome coming out. We got, I don't really follow baseball a lot, but we got the Topps 2021 Topps. So there's a lot of stuff coming out. Football also, big weeks coming up for football. I think they got Flawless coming up. I mean, there's just so much stuff coming out right now. Chronicles football is such a hot product right now. I've been watching a lot of breaks of that stuff. That stuff is top notch. There's all kinds of good stuff in there. If you're a rookie collector, you like collecting the rookies, man, Chronicles is where it's at. So yeah, big week for PSA this week. Not big week, but I mean a good increase, about 10% increase from last week. And where does that put us in terms of our estimated catch-up dates? Not much improvement. So last week we were on the 17th. We cut down to the 13th. So about 4 days in terms of an increase. So that they're kind of getting there. However, our dates are still out there, right? So we're still October. If they have a 4 million card backlog, it's still right around January if they got a 6 million card backlog, and then July of next year if that big backlog is in fact 10 million cards when we started. Not like I said, it's a pretty good increase. I'm happy to see that 10% increase. However, I'm a little wary about next week going flat again. I hope that doesn't happen, but it's looking pretty consistent in the pattern that we're seeing. So increase flat, increase flat, increase flat, increase flat. However, that's still a week over week increase of about 5% a week if you look at it, right? So that's good. I mean, it'll compound, right? So that increase will compound. Next week it'll be a 10% increase on 25,000, which will kind of put us closer to 28,000. And then a 10% increase on that will be closer to 31,000, 32,000, and then, so on and so forth. So, I'm really expecting for us to get right around the 30 to 35,000 card a month, pace by the July 31st date, or the July 1st date that they're saying that they want to get back to opening up some of these services. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my call there and say that right around July, we'll probably be around the 35,000 card a day, goal. So we'll see. But anyway, I think that's, it's a good week for PSA this week. 10% increase on output from last week. That's pretty good. The majority of it, a high majority of it being in basketball cards, which is also kind of dope because that's where all my cards are. I haven't submitted anything to them other than basketball. And that's it. What do you guys think so far? I think PSA is, getting there, and we'll see if they continue to increase, and we'll see if they continue to improve on that number. But ultimately what it's going to come down to is when are they going to open up those services again? Because I'm really afraid that they're going to open up those floodgates just a little too early, and it's a potential for them to go right back to where they were, and I would really hate for that. Really hate for that to happen. So that's it. I think we'll continue to monitor this thing. Just to recap, 10% increase from last week, so that's pretty good. And then I'm really starting to think that complete through dates don't mean anything anymore. And if that's the case, that's going to be tough for a lot of you. So that's it. I'll leave you guys with that. Again, if you like this kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. I do this every Wednesday at 6 p.m. This video drops Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Wednesdays. I do this every week. This update happens every week. I pull the data every Sunday. I do the video on Tuesdays. I usually pull the data Sunday or Monday. I pull the data on Sunday. I do the analysis on Mondays. I record the video on Tuesdays, and it drops on Wednesdays. That's how this works. If you have not watched, again, like I said, the original one, I'll link it in the description. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment if you're seeing quicker dates than the complete through dates for your respective service levels. I'm very curious about that. I'm starting to kind of try to collect a little bit of data on that. Be on the lookout for our next HGA video. For my next HGA sub, that came back. That was pretty dope. If you haven't already watched my man Pete's from Australia, his SGC submission video, that's in the videos as well. And then we got a big SGC sub coming back pretty soon. I did a 10 card sub. So that's coming back. We got a lot of stuff going on. So thank you guys so much for all the support and all the subs and the comments and all that stuff. I really do appreciate it. I run through every single bit of it. I read every single comment, and we'll continue to do so. So that's it. You know I love you guys. Peace.